Prem se bolo Adi Shakti Mata ki Jai. Sitaram, everybody. Let's all clasp our hands as we get set for a second night, these 3 nights, Devi, Gyan, Yagya, commemorating the Saraswati Jayanti that is coming up next week, Tuesday. Close your eyes and just for a little bit, concentrate your mind as best as you can as we invocate God, as we are about to learn more and more about our Devi. Om Gajananam Bhutaganaadisevitam Kapeta Jumbo Palachar Bhakshitam Umasutam Sho Kavinashkarakam Namami Viganeshwara Parapankajam Sarvamangalamangaliye Shive Sarvartasadhike Sharanye Trayambike Gauri Narayani Namostude Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwara Gurur Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Shri Adi Shakti Mata ki Jai. Again, Sitaram, everybody, and welcome to our second night satsang. Thank you for joining with me, Pandit Keshava, and the other members of the Sri Krsna Seva Ashram, located here in Hindustan Village, Princestown, in Trinidad. For those of you looking from all over the world, welcome. And to re-emphasize the point and the purpose of this Gyan Yagya, too often people are they are more clear about Devi Durga Mata, Lakshmi Devi, Lord Shiva, but when this form of Saraswati Mata comes to mind, when her discourses have to be described by the layman, sometimes it is lacking in terms of the content or lacking in terms of the explanation or the knowledge. However, come Tuesday, everybody journeys to their prayer room, to their puja room, where their Saraswati Murti is, to pray for help with exams, for help with success, for speech and to overcome speech impediments. Different things people go for. In my time, people have been asking more and more in the WhatsApp groups, and I'll put the link up for you. If you'd like to join, I encourage you to join us. With the WhatsApp group, I send out constant, more on a regular basis, information, tidbits to empower you, to enrich your knowledge. And I invite everybody to freely join. There's no cost. But just another way, using technology to reach you and to give you within the circumstance more than what you need to grow you spiritually. So in that forum, questions came, Baba, why is this day Saraswati Jayanti? Where did this date come from? What do you do in the puja? What do we offer to Saraswati Mata? In different parts of India, different articles, different types of recipes are offered. And in tonight's discourse, last night we dealt with the origin, the first incarnation of Saraswati Mata, where she is referred to as Satya Rupa or Satrupa, Savitri Mata, and then eventually called Saraswati, where it explained in the Mastya Puran, which was our text last night, how Brahma had these different heads. Mahadev Baba has one head on a normal day. Some days he'll have 5. But his normal scenario is one head. Lord Vishnu, one head. But in the Gita, when he takes that Virat Roop, where he has all the heads, where Arjun says, I see everybody's going into your mouth, he can have more than one head. But Brahma is always in this form where he has different amount of heads. And why did this come? Last night we heard that when Saraswati Mata is walking around Brahma, he makes heads to look at her as she's passing, so much in love, so much feeling, so much armor does he have for her. And after that moment, he confronts his son, Kamdev. And Kamdev says that his job is to remind the living, the animate objects, whether animals, equestrian, whether aquatic, whether reptilian, human, whatever it be, that there's a time or a season to reproduce. And he's the one who triggers that natural instinct to copulate. And he says, dear father, because you were engaged in the creative process, you became part and parcel. And Brahma gives him shrap that Mahadev Baba is going to burn you to ashes. One day that will happen. And Kamdev says, but dear father, you are giving me shrap, but I was only doing my job. You gave me this job, and now you're giving me shrap for it. He says, you must give me some blessings. He says, okay, when it is time for Krishna to walk upon the earth, when Balram comes, you will go and you will be born in that house of the Kuru, and you will live in that city of Dwarka. You will be able to enjoy all the different amenities, all the different luxuries of Dwarka Puri, where you will be born as the son of Krishna, an individual by the name of Samba. You'll be very integral in the workings of Lord Krishna. And for that reason, I bless you, O son, you will be given that opportunity. Vrindavan Bihari Lal Ki Jai. Before we continue in tonight's discourse, I invite everybody to please sit upright, draw your hands, and just for a little bit, let us pray to Adi Shakti Mata, Devi Mata, as we do the Devi Bhagavad, Srimad Devi Bhagavad Sumiran. Gauri Shambho Gira Guru Govind Ganapati Gang Sumire Vyas Bhash Karta Devi Katha Prasang Jasudeha Mati Mati Vishaya Stiti Jo Jagamat Matina Lekat Jai Rupako Prirak Mati Prirak Dhyan Sakala Nigamaut Sanmani Hrile Ka Jagavan Matu Bhavani Ke Charana Namo Nama Sukhakan Taruna Chandra Shira Daya Maya Anukusha Rupash Manda Hasta Yuta Bhakta Ke Katha Tatha Savatras Shri Shankaracharya Aru Mata Pita Shiranaya Devi Bhagwat Grantha Ke Bhasha Likat Banaya Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Shakti Rupena Samstita Namastasye, 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 namo namah. Shri Adi Shakti Mata ki Jai. As we go forward tonight, for those of you with me live, first thing I want to ask is that please leave me your comments. Please leave me your questions. Please tell me where you're viewing from, what part of this world. In Trinidad today, so happen we're doing satsang tonight, and we're focusing on that female aspect. One of the unique factors of Hinduism is that we worship God in that female form. That we acknowledge that it takes the male and the female to make everything. And in this way, we acknowledge the role of the female throughout Hinduism. A Hindu starts acknowledging the female as the first god. Twameva Mata, you are my first god, you are my god. The Hindu is taught that you cannot worship a god you cannot see and ill-treat or hurt or damage the mother, the father, the guru. These people are your gods before you reach to that invisible form of the Almighty. Today was the hurtful Antishti Sanskar, the funeral rite of that young girl, Andrea Barrett. And throughout this country, for the past few days in Trinidad, for those of you outside, for those of you looking on from different parts of the world, candlelight vigil, the entire issue of the respect for women, women rights, women issues, gender equality, the treatment of women, protection of women, this topic has been on the forefront. Some have risen to the moment and led their people, and some have not. Some have spoken against the damaging, the hurting, the using, the abusing of the women folk in this country that is quite, to be quite honest, quite prevalent. We here at the ashram, we stand in solidarity with that family, that father in particular. We pray that God in His wisdom, Mother in her guidance and power, share her energy and protect them and give them the ability to somehow heal and at some point recuperate and in some way or the other find some normalcy in life. How they will do it, it is in the hands of God. We worship and we arati and we bow down and bend our heavy heads and pay homage to these women because of their role in our lives, because of the part they play in making us who we are. And it is quite against the norm, it is quite against the rule of Hinduism to abuse elders, to abuse the wife, to abuse sisters, daughters, etc. Because they are considered to be the mothers. And in Bhagavad Gita chapter 1, it shows the value of the mother. It says when the mother fails in her duty, when the mother is not capable to do her job in rearing and training the next generation, know that those individuals, the children, they are now in Kali Yuga, the age of darkness and ignorance. Because where would you be without your mother? For those people that have lost their mom, tonight is a good night to remember these great souls and the contribution that they would have made to your development, your family. With my own mother, I always say, the ringing of the ears, go and pick up your book. Today, I have my education. And if we are quite honest and quite straightforward, many people learn to appreciate people only after they die. Today, this girl's body went through that send-off, that final rite, and what, as many are saying, what political leaders could not do. Bring people in such a way that we have not seen, crossing religious borders, gender borders, racial borders, standing side by side, people together with heart, with feelings, with heart-wrenching feelings, to see the treatment that was meted out to this girl. They lit their candles and sang their songs from various backgrounds. And everybody in their own way, to their best of knowledge, prayed for her soul's peace and happiness and for the help of the Father. Please don't forget that, Father. Tonight, we continue in adoring the female. Let's practice what we learn tonight. We always say, respect the female, love the female, adore the female. Our Dharma teaches us just that. And you'll hear Lord Krishna talk about it tonight. As we go into in depth now, where did this Saraswati Jayanti, where did that day come from? Where does that happen? Where does it first happen? So just for you to gain a little more insight. For children, maybe the mothers here looking on. Maybe I'm talking to you. Maybe for you to know a little more, a morsel more, a tidbit more, so that you can tell your children, hey, get up and say prayers. Baba said so. So that we can save our young ones. As I touched on it last night, many people are having problems with their children and online learning. We need Saraswati Mata's blessing more now than before. I spoke about my own challenges with my nephew and my niece. He's busy doing homework here whilst I am broadcasting to you. He's right here on his side. Wants to show his mom who he's doing all his homework very diligently. Tonight I want to emphasize the need to do what we can within the parameters. To maintain the COVID rules, we can't have the big yagna as we would normally have, hence we're meeting like this. But there's a benefit for many people where in Trinidad the rules are not so stringent, but in other parts of the world, death is next door. So whatever I say tonight, whatever I sing tonight, from all of us here at the ashram, to wherever you are in your family, God bless you. Tonight, for those people that continue sending their support, cash, donations, as we'll be feeding people, for the small groups that will be here from Monday night, Tuesday night, throughout the day, I want to tell you God's blessings to you, Swasti Kalyan. May Mother Saraswati, may Mother Durga, Lord Shiva, may they all shower your house with grace. And during these tough times, I thank you for allowing me the support to share food, not in the ashram, but to pack the food, to hit the road and go and give it to people that may not come here. Think about that. In a typical prayer setting, the normal Hindu who knows about temple, they come. But when we get to do prayer like this, then maybe a non-national, maybe somebody of a different religion, maybe somebody's homeless, we get to go and feed them now. And for all those that assisted, for all those that will be here to help pack the food in the containers, the bottled water, the prasad, all these things, I want to publicly thank you and bless you that what you are doing, you are making hungry people get something to eat, at least in this occasion of Saraswati Jayanti. Let's enter into our first verse. As we get into our discourse tonight, we will touch on, I'm reading predominantly from the Devi Bhagavad Puran and a little bit from Brahmavaivat Puran as it talks about the person who says the prayer to Saraswati Mata. Tonight I'm reading from the 9th book, chapter 4 of Devi Bhagavad. Jai Jagadishwari Matu Saraswati Sharanagrata Parati Palanahari Jai Jagadishwari Jagadeeshwari Mahatu Saraswati Chandra Bhimasana Badan Viraje Chandra Vibhasana Badan Viraje Shisha Mukut Malaghaladi Hari Vihari Jai Jagadishwari Matu Saraswati Ganesha Janani Durga Radha Lakshmi Saraswati Savitri cha Shreshti ye Prakiti Pancha Smritita Jai Jagadishwari Matu Saraswati Sharana Sharanagrati Palanahari Asana Pujana Prasiddha Prabhasa Pradama Siddha Sadhu Pasham Cha Charitam Sarve Mangala Karana Hari Jai Jagadishwari Matu Saraswati Abhibhujana tata dehi vaktar taranatara Krishna yopishana iti shona Krishna yena Kumaki Kumakrup Kamrupini Payayascha Jai Jagadishwari Matu Saraswati Shri Adi Shakti Mata ki Jai Saraswati Mata ki Jai. Narad Muni is speaking to Lord Vishnu in this section of Devi Bhagavad. By your grace I have heard, Prabhu, about things that are like sweet like nectar, the origin of different things. Now, Bhagwan, Prabhu, I ask you about the Devi. I ask you which Devi of the 5 Prakriti has been worshipped by what mantra and by whom did that prayer? How has each of them been praised? Who did their worship? How has the worship of their Murti been done? And how is it to be done? Is it still prevalent in today's worship? What is their stotra, their dhyanam, their kavach? All of these things. What does the word kavach mean, Baba? Please remember, tonight we're going to talk about it. What sort of benefit, please listen, what sort of benefit is derived by worshipping these forms when it is done properly? Lord Vishnu looking at him, he says, "O child, O last son of Brahma, mind-born son of Brahma, Durga, the Janani of Ganesh, Radha, Lakshmi and Saraswati, Savitri, these all constitute the 5 forms of that energy, Prakriti, that mool Prakriti that came from them, came from that mother, the energy, the raw energy, and then in different forms she is manifesting now by these names. And he has named these names. The method of their worship is a wonderful act, excellent stotra, and by remembering their deeds, remembering their discourse, a person, based on what is written in Ved, a person is allowed to have their heart's desires by listening to their discourse in the Puranas, the various Shastras. Nothing that a person is praying for is without or beyond the reach of a person who is praying ardently. For this next part in the rest of this book in Devi Bhagavad, Mahavishnu goes on to describe Kali Mata, the Vasundhara or Vasudhara Puja, that is a form of what we call the earth, the Vastu Puja. When we are doing Nandi Mukshara and somebody is having wedding or somebody is having Yagya coming up, they will take a spot and they'll do Sapta Rishi Puja and they'll put gobar, maybe to stick it on the wall, and they'll put 7 seashells in that gobar, and that Vasudhara Puja is done there. Ganga Puja, Shashti Mata, Mangala Gauri, Mangala Chandika, Tulsi Mata, Manas Devi, Swaha, Dakshina Devi, all these different forms I am going to describe you one by one. And in the latter part of this chapter, as it goes on in this section, the Skand, he explained the history of each one of these Devis that I just listed. He says, but let me at this time describe to you from that Radha how Saraswati Mata at one time had come, and what in this coming of that Devi, what did it cause? Just as how there are different incarnations of Lord Shiva, as time from yug to yug, different moments, different attributes, Krishna, Ram, all incarnations of Lord Vishnu. Just as Lakshmi Mata is there and then she goes and she wants to come back, what we celebrate for Diwali. The common manifestation of these Devis and Devatas is constant throughout time to save children, to save people from hardship, hurt and pain. Here now, last night we heard of how Brahma's body, before there was any man, before there was any type of creation, from the one body of Brahma, he separates himself into 2. Male Brahma, female Satrupa or Saraswati Mata. Now listen tonight, as Lord Vishnu is giving Narad Muni a different incarnation of Saraswati that has to do with this day called Saraswati Jayanti. Let's chant this next verse. Choti choti gaya, choti choti gwal, choti choti gaya, choti choti gwal, choto somedo madana gopal, choto somedo madana gopal. Kari kari gaya, ghore ghore gwal, kari kari gaya, गोरे गोरे ग्वाल श्याम भरन मेरो मदन गोपाल श्याम मदन मेरो मदन गोपाल छोटी छोटी गैया छोटी छोटी ग्वाल छोटी छोटी गैया छोटी छोटी ग्वाल छोटो सो मेरो मदन गोपाल तदा ये तपक्षी प्रवक्ष्यामि ये न करना शृणुया आदौ ते सरस्वती ये पूजन कृष्ण विधि प्रास्तित ये ना मुख पर ये छोटी छोटी गैया छोटी छोटी ग्वाल छोटी छोटी गैया छोटी छोटी ग्वाल छोटो सो मेरो मदन गोपाल छोटो सो मेरो मदन गोपाल श्री वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय. O Muni, Krishna is the one who first brings this worship of Saraswati. The person who holds the veena in her hands, under whose influence the illiterate, the person who is dull-witted, that or such a person could become illumined and well knowledgeable. So the first thing, as I pause here, if you have a child, that the child is not forming words properly, the child has a lisp or a stutter, the child is not speaking. In Hinduism, I'm going to talk a little bit just now about prayer, puja, stotra, different fasting, different gifts that are given to Saraswati Mata as she, in one of her forms, sits exactly on the tip of the tongue. In the tongue, children are taught in school that various parts of the tongue entertain or gives the ability to have pleasure or to taste what we are eating and allow the person's brain to assimilate, oh, this is bitter, this is salty, and mother sits where we taste sweet. Anything that we taste that has sugar in it, the tip of the tongue is what allows us to enjoy that sweetness, and this is where mother sits. Now, Lord Vishnu is about to explain and guide how to do the puja. Please listen carefully. Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Shakti Rupena Samstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namah Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Avirbhuta Yathe Devi Bhaktar Krishna Yojini Nasikaye Ishwar Krishna Kaminye Karmo Ki Rupini Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Shakti Rupe Na Sanskrita. Prem se bolo Adi Shakti Mata ki Jai. Listening to the worship of Saraswati Mata, the person who has different complexes in their brain, depression, ADHD, different things that hold back a person, schizophrenia, even up to epilepsy, there is prayer, ritual, methodology that Saraswati worship could help a person calm down the situation. Saraswati Devi sprang in this janam at this time from the lip, the curling smile of Radha Devi. They are together, Radha and Krishna are together in Golok, according to Devi Bhagavad. And mother is going to be formed from the body of Radhika Devi. She transformed and she is born. She is standing with her sitar, standing in front of Krishna and Radha. And she says to him, where, Prabhu, where am I going to be? Am I going to be your consort? Krishna, looking at her, he says, I am bounded to the maker of your form. You come from the body, you are just 1% of Radha. Radha is my equal, and she is the one I am to remain with. If you go to Vishnu, he will guide you where you need to be. And that Saraswati Mata, taking the blessing of these two, goes to Vaikuntha and standing before Lakshmi and Mahavishnu, she pleads her case that she needs to find a place, her consort, to empower him. Lord Vishnu, let's hear what happens in this verse. Jai Bhole Baba Tab Sharanam, Jai Bhole Baba Tab Sharanam, Jai Bhole Baba Tab Sharanam, Jai Samba Sada Shiva, Jai Samba Sada Shiva Tab Sharanam. Taya Swargaye Tvaya Prati Sharira Sharalaka Prayantasya Pratimochana Girayate Harishravana Swarapischa Jai Bhole Baba Tav Sharanam. Jai Bole Baba Tab Sharanam. Umapati Mahadeva ki Jai. Upon arriving to the place where lying on Sheshnag, Saraswati Mata explained that she was formed from the body of Radha, and Krishna had advised that he come to Vaikunt to get guidance where I will go. Am I supposed to remain here with you, Mahavishnu? And that Lord of Vaikunt says, I am the Ramapati. I am Rama is another name for Lakshmi. I am the Lord of her, she who is not controlled by lust, anger, greed, delusion, and vanity. I am her Lord, and I am always in mixing with her, as she is the one who gives prosperity, fortune. She gives me the energy to do my bidding. Without her, my job would never be done. But if you go to Brahmlok, and with your ability to give wisdom, with your ability to be in charge of knowledge, if you give him the knowledge of how to coordinate and how to build everything that he has to build, then both of you will be successful. For this reason today, oh Sharda Devi, I put you with him. Let that Brahma always be your consort. And for this reason, in this entire universe, please remember this, everybody. In the fifth day, Panchami, the fifth day, fifth moon day of the bright fortnight of the month of Magh, every year, Magh is this month, piece of January, piece of February. Every year, on this day, the Panchami day, in this month, in the bright half, devotees will worship you. And when they worship you, Mother, because this is the day you took form from the lips of Radha, learning, teaching, remembering, understanding, comprehending, all these things, all these faculties will be theirs for the child that is having problem performing in school. Let them do your worship, O Saraswati Devi, and you give them that grace, may you give them that darshan, that they would be able to improve upon themselves, do better than themselves, without anyone giving them any scolding. They would be able, without much energy and effort, to just understand what is happening. Prem se bolo Shri Vishnu Bhagwan ki Jai. He says all the Vasus, Yogis, Nagas, Siddhas, Gandharvas, all these Rakshas, all of them will worship you. Throughout every kalp, at the time of Mahapralay, when all the energy, all the physical entities of the earth is recycled through Lord Vishnu, even then they will cry out and call out to you. Devi, if you only accept this position on the other side of Lord Brahma, Samyami will be your position in the ability to allow a person to concentrate their mind, take vows of breath, allow them to finish their breath, allow them to finish their fast, allow them to finish their prayer. And you would be the one they are calling upon so that they would be able to be successful. Shri Adi Shakti Mata ki Jai. Let's join together as we hear what happens in the next verse. Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namah. Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namah. Jitindriya Sangyescha Dattescha Paushanayascha Prahate Paushakyapischa Kritva Karunaye Yati. Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namah. Vrindavan Bihari Lal Ki Jai. Mother, when you are the one who is going to give that buddhi, that knowledge, that sankhya, that jnanam, Mother, from today people will invoke you in the kalash. People will invoke you in the books. People will be invoking you on the instrument. You worship Lakshmi Mata in her murti, but in Saraswati form, we worship her in the book, in the instrument, in the pen, the pencil, whatever utensil is used for the knowledge, for the classroom, for the exam room, all of these things, Saraswati Mata is called there. When a person meditates upon you and using the verses, the stotram that is located in the Ved, the Kanva Sakha of Yajud Ved, and then they worship you when these verses are being chanted, Mother, what blessing, what more could a person want? Kavach means, translates into armor. And when a person, as we're going to hear in a little bit, starts to use the Kavach of Saraswati Mata, consider it to be a preservative, consider it to be a protection from the bark of trees like the gulab jamun tree in Trinidad, those trees that have a fruit that leaves a stain. You write out the prayer and you pray, and some people offer it in fire, some people offer it in water, depending on their circumstance. Saraswati Mata is that person who is always blessing, helping, lifting people from poverty, sickness, ignorance, trouble, lustful thoughts into those of betterment. When this is uttered, Saraswati is listening, she's waiting for instructions. Looking at her, Lakshmi Mata says she is equal in beauty, qualities and power. She will bring great delight, not only for this place called Vaikunth, but when she goes to the house of Brahma, she will bring great happiness, great opportunity to him and his creation. Shri Vishnu Bhagwan Ki Jai. Let's join together as we sing this verse, these couple of verses to Lord Krishna. I dedicate this to the Bharat family, this chant that sings the glory of Lord Krishna, as in our way we celebrate the Jiva Atma of this young girl that had died. Jai Radha Madhava, Jai Kunja Vihari. You are the consciousness, dear Devi. O Krishna, you are the dweller in the heart of the person that is bowing. Jai Gopi Janavallabha, Jai Gopi Janavallabha, Jai Giri Vardari, Jai Radha Madhava, Jai Kunja Vihari, Yashodanandana, Braj Janaranjana, Yashodanandana, Braj Janaranjana, Yashodanandana, Braj Janaranjana, Jamuna Tiravardhani, Jai Giridhar Dari, Jai Radha Madhava, Jai Kunja Vihari, Jai Kunja Vihari, Jai Kunja Vihari. Shri Adi Shakti Mata Ki Jai. Whilst all this talking was happening, all the blessings, Lord Vishnu says all of them, Siddhas, Gandharvas, Rakshas, all of them will pray to you for that upliftment, for that intellect, for that buddhi, that knowledge, for the ability to remember previous birth, to recall knowledge that you had already gained. All these things happen by the blessings, by the will of Saraswati Mata. He says, when everything is going to be returned into my body, when Mahapralaya comes, you are going to be the one that is going to help souls lift themselves out of ignorance. Kavach, as we said, when different type of desires are there and the person writes it on the back and then they burn it in the ashes, in the fire, and the ashes from that is used to make different type of yantra, then the person is said to be protected by the army, the armor of Saraswati Mata. It is said the stotras that are used during the worship procedure, Lord Krishna himself recited it. As he was happy at Saraswati Mata listening to his words, let's hear what happens. Jai Jai Radha Ramana Hari Bol. 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 पीतयक्षति बुधियातं पूजन कल्ये पूजितं युक्तया ते पूज ये जन्म ना देवी सर्वभूषितं जय जय राधा रमन हरि बोल जय जय राधा रमन Hari Bol. Shri Adi Shakti Mata ki Jai. Those learned people who chant this stotra. This stotra was chanted by firstly Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, Anant, Sheshnag, Dharam, Sanak, and all his brothers, all the Indriyas, all the Devatas, they all prayed using these great mantras, using these great prayers that we are about to chant. The great kings of the human race worship Saraswati Mata, and in doing so, all forms of legal matters, all forms of court matters, all forms of interviews, whenever the mouth has to be used to uplift a person, to explain themselves, this is where in past times they had utilized Saraswati Mata. For this reason, the person who is able to know this knowledge and use it at the time when it is most necessary and most needed, the blessing, the protection is always going to be there. Narad Muni says, "O chief of all the knowers of the Ved, tell me what method is going to be used to worship, how to do the Kavach, how to do the hymns, what is to be offered to Mother, what kind of flowers, what color flowers, what is to be pasted on the murti. May you please tell to me." Shri Adi Shakti Mata ki Jai. Lord Vishnu says, "Now I am stating the worship of Saraswati Mata. May you accept this. May you please bless those that will bring this prayer to you. May you please accept these words on the day that is previous, on the day that is before the Panchami day." Now we are referring to the Saraswati Jayanti day, what to do. Please remember, on the day before, this year in Trinidad, it is the Tuesday. It starts late on the Monday. So there is still that religious time, but the Saraswati Jayanti day, at the rising of the sun, is on Tuesday. The Panchami day is on that day. On the day before the Panchami, at the commencement of that day, or the day the person is going to become or going to begin some form of education, the person should get ready to bathe, and he's going to concentrate, or she's going to concentrate the senses, concentrate the mind as she's about to cleanse herself, have shower and so on. The person goes, and after preparing their body, they go and they get a kumbh or a jar, we might say kalsa, cut with devotion according to the mantras that we follow, according to the sodas upachar, meaning the different step. Put chandan, perfume, sindoor, saffron, like that. Worship this gut. This is at a time before man could make plastic murtis like this. Before a person could have their individual murti in their home, the person uses the gut to represent that form of mother. And meditating on that Saraswati, you invite her there. And you worship who? Ganapati is worshipped, and then Saraswati Mata is worshipped in her puja. All other ancillary devatas, the Navgraha, the Mahadev, the Shaligram, are also there. They meditate upon mother and they invite her to listen, just listen. For this reason, when the dhyanam slowly, softly, beautifully is chanted, and the devotee may find himself or herself with tears in the eyes, these things are going to be yielding great amount of blessing. He says, for those, according to my knowledge, about the offspring, the growing offspring, the one who is developing, that person who listens as the mother chants these mantras, these stotra to Saraswati Mata, the child is going to be developing whilst within the womb. Listen, when you are going to offer Mother Puja, well, we know Sindur, Saffron, no difference there. But listen to the prasad that is going to be offered. Fresh cattle butter, yogurt, thickened milk, rice that does not have the husk in it, till laddu, any preparation that has till, where the sugar comes from sugar cane juice, molasses, honey, kesaria, ganapati prasad is also used here. The chipped rice, all these things. Different types of modak with till in it is made for mother. And in this way, all of these things can be offered, can be given. There is Saraswati Puja, believe it or not, I'm reading here, verse 41 in this section, where nimak or salt preparations are given to Saraswati Mata. When a person is under spiritual attack and their memory is weaning away, when a person has different type of disease and they are forgetting really bad, when people have trauma and they want to remember what they once knew, where they start to get forgetfulness, or they get total like a blanked memory loss because of a hurtful accident or something like that, then allow them to worship Saraswati Mata. And when doing the offerings into the fire, she says Swaha, she is there. And when doing the prayer, the person who is offering all these different types of sweetness, together with salt, together with wheaten flour, together with different types of coconut, grated coconut by itself is offered to Mother Saraswati. Coconut water is offered to Mother Saraswati. The person who does this, this person is going to gain happiness, health, etc. Ginger, ripe plantain, bale fruit, all these things are used. In fact, tonight as you are looking on, what do you offer Saraswati Mata? In your family, if you live in a different country, what are you going to offer Tuesday? Please let me know so that many others can hear. Oh, Narad, white flowers. White flowers is what is to be used when worshipping that Sharda Devi. That flowers must have a sweet scent or some aroma. White sandal paste is used to adore the chandan or the smearing of her body, as that day on the Vasant Panchami, when that day comes, this is what is to be done. Can you get white sandal paste in Trinidad? Yes, you can. If you need, just send a message. I'll send a phone number for you. Garlands of white flowers are going to be prepared. On the group, for those of you looking on tonight, or on the repeat, remember we were talking about the value of fresh flowers, why we put flowers on the head, why we exchange malas of flowers. What is the value it comes to play here? He says, in this way, the person who is offering conch shells, the garlands of white flowers, white necklaces, sometimes you see pearl is offered to Mother Saraswati, so that they will be able to overcome hardships, problems. In this way, please listen. to the dhyanam of Saraswati Mata. Shruno vatsa pravakshami Stuti sarva kamadam Shruti saram Shruti sukham Shruti yukham Shruti pujitam Yuktam Krishne goloke madhyam brinda Om Rashena Vrisha Bribhuvana Reshamya Rasenya Bratitam Rasamandale Ativa Gopinayakam Chakalakal Pravikshami Pujitam Samana Pravishyatam Pujitam Hitarite Om Namo Shri Devi Mata Bhyo Namam. He says, I bow to you, Devi Saraswati, the one who is dressed in white, the one who is very fair, smiling countenance. The person is always very approachable, not warring. In this way, Mother, it is because of your blessing. Everything is maintained because of the knowledge, the wisdom. Mother, may you hold up the veena, may you hold up the books. May you please bless me who is praying. Shri Adi Shakti Mata ki Jai. For this reason, the person who is doing the different sanskar, they are familiar. Sindhumanian sanskar, Chat Karam sanskar, Chuda Karma sanskar in particular. Karna Veda sanskar, when they are blowing the girl or even the boy's air, and they're praying for the development of the mind, Saraswati prayer is imperative. Using these verses, remember there are more, I'm just doing one or two. It is said that on the day of the Panchami, in the bright half, the person who uses these mantra, Om, Aim, Kling, Saraswatyai Namah, the person who wants to advance themselves in schoolwork, all parents please listen, Om, Shring, Hring, Saraswatyai Namah Swaha. Everything that is being offered to Saraswati Mata, use the mantras that I have just recited. Om Shring Kalika Mata Divyai Nama. In this way, the person who uses or utilizes these simple dhyanam, simple mantra, great amount of benefit comes. Narad Muni says, Prabhu, who was able, before I go and start any new regiment of prayer, what proof is there that this worked for somebody? Lord Vishnu says, O child, when this mantra, Om Ayam Kling Saraswatyai Nama, Om Shring Hring Saraswatyai Namo Nama. When these two mantras were given to Valmiki in the land of Bharatvarsh at the bank of the Ganga, he was able to become so poetic, so eloquent. He writes the Ramayana. His life changed. For that person on the bank of the Ganga, Brigu gives this prayer to Shukracharya, and this gives Shukra great amount of status. He makes him very powerful. Marich gives this prayer to Brihaspati at the time of the lunar eclipse to counteract the negative energies that are afloat and are wrong at that time. There are many examples of people using this mantra properly, and when it is done properly, the blessings are amazing. Prem se bolo Shri Adi Shakti Mata ki Jai. Let's hear what happens. As at one point, Lord Vishnu is asked again, who is the person giving the prayer? Who chanted the first prayer, the stotra to Saraswati Mata? Jai Bole Baba Tab Sharanam, Jai Bole Baba Tab Sharanam, Jai Bhole Baba Tab Sharanam, Jai Samba Sada Shiva Tab Sharanam. Brahman ye Brahmadi Shreshta, ye na Tattva ye Atitam, ye na Buddhi ye Sharisa, Sarpa Pujana ye Ati. Jai Bhole Baba Tab Sharanam, Jai Bhole Baba Tab Sharanam, Jai Bhole Baba Tab Sharanam. Jai Samba Sada Shiva Tava Sharanam, Jai Samba Sada Shiva Tava Sharanam. Shri Adi Shakti Mata ki Jai, Mahapati Mahadeva ki Jai. At one time, Brigu, the mind-born son of Brahma, he asked, "Oh Father, Pitashri, you who is knowing of all the Ved, may you, regarding the knowledge of the Vedas, may you teach me, give to me that prayer that brings about happiness in the Vishwa Jaya Kavach. May you please give me that type of Kavach, that type of armor that is correlated to Saraswati Mata, Satrupa Devi. May you please give to me those things." In this way, listening to the words of his father, Brahma begins to recite the following. Prem se bolo Shri Adi Shakti Mata ki Jai. Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namah. Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namah. Shrunuvats Pravakshyami Kavacha Sarvakam Pranaya Itiyatam Shrunu Sirishotam Stuti Mukha Shruti Vekavayate. Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namah. Brahma says, for that person who chants the Kavach of Saraswati, that sweet sound, that prayer that gives armor to the body, that is ordained and worshipped in the Ved, that person is able to receive all the fruits of their prayer as she becomes the giver of all their desires, giver and granter of all their worship. At the very beginning, the all-pervading Sri Krishna, the person who rules the Ras Leela, he mentions this Kavach to all that are alive in even Ravan forest in that region. In the abode of Golok at the time of the Ras Mandal, he teaches all those gopis of it as well. And for this reason, they are able to become very intelligent. They have the blessings to go upon the earth, to be in the company of Krishna. And when it was time to come back, I don't know if you notice, this Saraswati Puja that they all engage in the Golok, Krishna led, and all the gopis, gopas, they do their Saraswati Puja. And it is known that Krishna has to take embodiment upon the earth in Krishna Janam time. And because of this Saraswati Ashirvad, because of this Saraswati Bardhan, when it was time for Krishna to leave the earth, Devaki and Vasudeva under pressure, they are sad, they eventually die because of the hearing of the death of their son. They cannot bear it. But before he goes to close his lila, knowing these gopis are with him, because of the blessing of Saraswati Mata, he says, I am going to save them the pain. And he goes, Nand, Yashoda, Rohini, and all the people of that area called Vrindavan. He takes all of them back to Golok before he closes his eyes on this earth. For this reason, the person who is able to get the blessing of Saraswati Mata in this way, that person is going to gain great amount of benefit. He says, "O son, when Krishna taught them of the Kavach of Saraswati, Sukracharya, he tries to teach it to all the 9 planets, all the devatas, and from time to time you will hear the type of trouble when they do not listen. Kanado Gautam Kavapanini Shaukayetam Ye Grihayate Chakram Yadave Ye Ati Katyayanam Ye Keshava Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namah Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namam. In all her forms, Parashar Muni, Vashish Muni, Yagya Balak, all of them held that Saraswati Kavach on their arm. A Kavach is usually tied on the right arm. And when, after doing all the different prayer, now sometimes it is very intricate. So the Baba has to write it on different type of bark, you pray, and allow it to burn as different things are offered into the fire, as you will hear just now, some of the mantras. And then from that ashes, the yantra is written, or the ashes itself is placed in the amulet and placed onto the person's body, raising the aura, so that they are now ready and more prepared, better to go and do. The same Shringi Rishi, who is the son-in-law of Dashrath, in Valmiki Ramayana, in the very beginning, we hear of Sri Ram's big sister, Shanta. Shanta Devi is married to Shringi Rishi. Shringi Rishi is the Pandit who comes to do the Putreshi Yagya for Dashrath so that Sri Ram could come. Bharat, Satra, and Lakshman. That prayer was the only prayer that allows this father to have boy children. Sometimes he gets it wrong and we say he couldn't have children. But he did not have boy children, heirs to the throne, etc. Ashtika, Devala, all of them worship the virtue of this Kavach, and where it is placed upon the body. And I am saying this, I am stressing this chapter because there are many parents that would like help, something that could be done for their child to improve, miraculously change attitude. Listen to parents, do the right thing, and here is the answer. Please, if you are sitting looking at me, let's chant just a couple of verses of this Kavach. Kavachasya Viprendra Rishya Prajapati Swayam Chandayascha Brihati Devata Sharda Ambika Sarva Tattva Prayagni Sarvanya Sarva Neyascha Kavintam Yena Idam Shri Sarvaveshu Vinayog Pradikriyam Tam Shring Hring Saraswatyai Namo Namam Pujitam Om Shring Hring Saraswatyai Swaha Shariro Me Patu Sarvata Shri Vyagdev Tasmai Swadha Mool Bhay Bhal Idam Sarva Bhyayascha Yastu Iti Shri Man Maha Saraswati Mata Ki Jai. There are many other verses, but just a couple. Some of the prayers that as a Pandit, when I'm doing Havan, to help people to make this Kavach so that people can have the protection and the blessings of Saraswati Mata. Using different mudra when you're holding, depending on what it is. If it is, let's say, the Havan spoon, you let the index finger go out and hold the spoon with the middle 2 finger, wrap this finger around, and offering now into the fire. Om Shring Hring Saraswatyai Swaha. May you protect my head, mother. May you sit as armor on my head, mother. Om Shring Vyagdevyaya Namah Swaha. Mother, may you sit here on his forehead. Vyagdevi is the one who sits here. So when I'm touching the Murti, as I said last night, mother, the energy, energy that is pervading over this Murti. Mother, may you please come here and may you lift the energy that guides my personality, my persona, my anger, my laziness, my craziness, my energy. May you make me a better person. Dear Lord, may you please sit upon my body. Dear Lord, may you lift my energy. May you lift my aura. May you bless me. But by the blessings of Vyag, Devi or Saraswati Mata, may you allow my choices to be better. Om Hring Saraswatyai Namah Swaha. May you sit on my ears, Mother Saraswati Mata. May you remain here. Om Shring Hring Bhagwati Saraswatyai Namah Swaha. Mother, may you sit on my eyes. Om Hring Vyagda Vahini Namaswaha. Mother, may you sit on my nose and bless my ability to smell. There are some diseases today in the world that when they ravage your body and you finish, you lose the sense of smell. And when you lose the sense of smell, sometimes the sense of taste goes with it. Om Hring Vidya Drishta Shadini Divyai Namah Swaha. May you sit on my lips. Om Hring Shring Brahmani Divyai Namah Swaha. May you sit on my teeth. For the child that is using teeth alignment or braces and they're trying to save the teeth. Or if the person has brittle teeth because of too much fluoride, too much exposure to things that cause the teeth to rot. Mother, may you please help. If I am a parent tonight and I am praying for my child's teeth to have proper alignment, use that mantra. Om Eng. May you protect my neck when the person has different problems with their thyroid gland, if they're putting on weight or losing weight, iron deficiency in their body, so their body metabolism is out of sync. Om Eng alone will bring help, protect this part of my body, Mother. Om Shring Ring, let my throat be protected. Om Shring, let my shoulders be protected. Om Ring Vidya Drishta Sharini Divyai Namaswa, let my chest sit upon me as armor, Mother. Om Ring Vidya Deswarupani Swaha, may you sit in my navel. Om Ring Kling Vanaye Namah Swaha, may you sit on my hands, Mother. Om Shri Swarna Swarupini Nat Mayani Kayayani, may you sit on my feet. Om Vyagdeshwari Trai Divyai Nama, may you protect my whole body, Mother. Om Sarvakant Vashini Swaha, may you protect the eastern side of my body. Om Sarva Vraj Vragneshwaraya Namah Swaha, the southeastern. And there are different mantras now. Mother, may you sit in front of me on this side, and you're going. So if you are accident prone, if the child is always falling and hitting her head, or if there's constant attack in whichever way, there is prayer. Om Aing, Shring, Kling, Gadya, Vashini, Namah, Swaha. Mother, may you sit wherever I am. May you be on the northern side of my body, and may you guide my every step so that I do not get damaged, I do not get hurt. There's nothing to stop me. Om Hring Sarva Pujitaya Namah Swaha. Mother, may you stand over me. Om Hring Pushtakavashni Namah Swaha. Mother, may you stand below me. Om Granta Beja Swarupani Swaha. Mother, may you protect all sides around me. Mother, if I'm leaving my job and there are people praying, people looking through their windows in their cars, only waiting to snatch me or to snatch my child, Mother, is there a prayer that will protect every side around wherever devils and demons and darkness will come to touch my child? Mother, may you stand and protect them. Is there such a thing? Yes, devotees. Yes. Tonight, remember what this stupid pundit is saying, that if you are worried for your safety or the safety of your children based on what we are seeing in the world today, call upon that mother. In this example, we are dealing with the Kavach of Saraswati Mata. And there is mantra for her to stand right around internally, externally. So that wherever your children or your loved one or your dear one happens to venture to go to school. I heard a young lady speaking today outside the Red House, and she was saying that she does not wish to bring children in this world. She does not wish to bring children into this country because she cannot protect herself as a female, much more for a helpless child. How many people have to die in this country before we get protection? For those people in the government, for those people in the leadership roles, that is an open-ended question for each one of you to answer. For those of you parents that have lost through kidnap, all forms of murder, all forms of harm, innocent and otherwise, how much more harm has to happen? How much fear has to happen before somebody says, you know what, let's do our job? I live in Princeton and I'm driving on the road every day to go here, there. And I'm wondering if anybody is looking at the roads with all the potholes. And that's a helpless car. That is a lifeless car that has to go down in all the holes. What about the parents that are afraid? One parent called me today and she says, Baba, to have a beautiful child long ago was a blessing. In text, they will say, Sita Mata was so beautiful, it was as if the moon had taken birth in the house of Janak. But now, when you have a girl child that is very good looking, very attractive, it is a reason to be fearful. It is so scary when you have girl children. But if you, as a parent, tonight I keep my discourse in the encapsulation of Hinduism. This is my field, this is my area, this is my text, and I'm speaking about my dharma for my people, for the people that follow this dharma. I'm begging you, Saraswati Mata will sit around them. If you invoke that lady, if you put those types of guards on their bodies, if you are fighting a fight with exams, if you are fighting a fight with banditry, with bad friends, with bad company, with laziness, with dull-wittedness, with hard-headedness, with stubbornness, and all these things, Saraswati Mata is here to help. Krishna says the person who calls upon this form and through affection worships mother, following the upachar, giving her water, the panchamrit, the water, the cotton, the wool, the sheep cotton, the cotton that grows on the tree with the seed in it from the cotton tree. All these different steps, and they're going down the road. A person does this on the Panchami day in the month of Magh, in the bright half. That person will not know fear. That person will have no fear of failure. That person will have no fear of pain. Saraswati Mata will save that person's intellect from choosing bad company or going in the wrong place. All these things when we become our own enemy. When the question parents ask, what were you thinking, child? Why did you do that? When people are choosing the wrong person to align themselves with. When the girl gets hit and she chooses to stay quiet and she says, Ma, I made a mistake. He was just venting and he broke one of my ribs. Ma, I look for it. That's why he bust out two of my teeth. When the girl becomes her own enemy, when the parents are saying, babe, you see that rage he have? Don't go there. Let me go and talk to the pundit just to check the patrana. And we're looking at the Ghana to see how these two people will get along. Will they fight like cat and dog? Will they get along like two divinities? But what we choose to do, dear friends, imagine if I go to Baka now. I'll do my research. I want to know which one is better. Nissan, Toyota, BMW, BMX, whatever it is. I will find out about the engine size, the gas consumption. Where could I get parts? I will ask my mechanic to go with me. Come, I need you to evaluate that car before I invest in that car. But when it comes to love, don't go and check the patra. Don't go and see in that patra under Yoni Gun. There are 8 ways we check to see compatibility. For you who is getting married, for you that is tying yourself to a person, look at what is going on in Trinidad and wake up. Your guru, your patra is there, and it has 8 ways that shows you how your health will be in the future with this person. Will you have children? Will there be cheating? Who will do the cheating? If the two people come together, how will they talk? How will they interact? The book says clear, there could be violence, there could be mayhem, there could be death. Do your research about the relationship and then buy the ring. Then invest. Don't just go and say, right, I don't know you. You look nice, but I don't know you. Let's marry. That is what you call, in local words, buying cat in bag. Because you don't know what you're going to get when the true colors come off. You know, when our young lady is going to meet the fella, they're courting, you know, it's different color face and different layers on the face. But it's only when you get married or you get in the relationship and the water wash the face, then you see the true ugly, you know. Then you know the true face you're really with. And the same goes for the boy. Everybody dolls up and everybody puts the gel and the perfume. Everybody puts on a front. And you fall for the front. And I'm saying this because there are people that put themselves in danger. In the Hindu circle, we have so many things, parameters to help hold you when you reach this critical point in your life. And you throw it away. We'll just sign registration. We'll just go and do some little thing. Now in the Hindu circle, where there was never this thing called child father and child mother, and this one and that one, and I'm a man, and I this one man, and I she man, and I'm a cousin man, and sister man, and mother taking the daughter man, and this kind of stupidness. Now it is as if our dharma, our people, our culture is totally eroding. And if we zero back in, after seeing what COVID could do, and bringing everybody to zero, looking at what has happened in the life of this family, this Bharat family. Women are supposed to be treated with respect, but women have to treat their own life with respect. Insist at a minimum. Insist. Let's check the patra. Let's know what we are doing. When you're getting married, get married properly. You are not a piece of garbage to be thrown away, young girl. Why are you throwing away yourself? Why are you looking to have a shortcut in your own wedding? Saraswati Mata there is to guide your own intellect to think. You imagine the builder is building, he's doing the construction. Do you think the builder is going to pull a shortcut in his own foundation? He's a crazy guy if he does that. I'm building a pile for all my engineers. My godchildren, whenever I'm doing some construction, they come upon it, make that pile 20 feet and make sure it goes down into the earth and make it this wide and this big, use this type of iron. Good. If the pundit goes 3 feet in the ground, you know pundit crazy? Do you think the builder, when he goes home, he says, all right, I am going to pull a shortcut in my house. I'm going to spend $1 million on the roof. But you see the post, I'm going to make it 2 feet into the earth. The builder wouldn't do that. The pundit does the best prayers. He wants to make sure the prasad is made perfect. He knows the value of doing that prayer. The builder knows the value of putting proper foundation into the earth. When the baker is making the cake for his child or her child, you think they spare the icing, the look, the beauty of that cake, that creation. We all want the best. And all I am saying is to every female here, you deserve the best. But sometimes as a pundit, I come across daughters and goddaughters that want shortcut. Baba, don't worry, one day he will grow out of that drinking. One day he'll grow out of the marijuana. One day he'll grow out of beating me. One day he'll grow out of cheating on me. One day he'll stop it. One day. And if you allow the standard in your life to be any and however and whatever, who is going to save you from you? And many parents have a problem like that. Many parents come today and say, Pandit, we wish we could choose somebody for our children, especially our girl children. We wish we could say, you know what, there's a nice boy, I want you to marry that boy. But gone are the days when people accept that. Gone are the days when people take that advice. When parents meet parents, for example, whenever I'm having normal Yagya, Shivratri, and we have a huge crowd coming together prior COVID, people will come, Baba, I want a good boy for my girl child, and vice on the other side, vice versa. So in the same prayers, they're lining up together, the parents watching, everybody watching, and they see the girl and they'll come and whisper, Baba, who is that girl? And after a Yagya, we get weddings. Because now the parents, they like each other. Beside the boy and the girl. Watch how Hindu thing is. When we have Yagya for 7 and 9 nights, they come and they sit down, they meet each other. They sit down like two buddies doing puja. And then time to eat, they're having dinner too. And they'll socialize and get to know. But you know what? In this way, we get to know each other. Parents get to know each other. The pundit is recommending. Wow. But in today's world, Saraswati Mata has to work very hard to protect us from us. Because we become the bad influence. We become the bad thinker. We become the person who makes the bad decision that causes an individual to go down the wrong road. Anytime you have a person where a girl is divorced, oh God, if I didn't know, Pandit, if I didn't know, I would have catch my tail. So if I didn't know, I would have get licked. So if I didn't know, I'd have get cheated like that. In this world of vice, there are all types of horrid stories. And Indian women, Hindu women is what I am focusing on. Go through all forms, they put their best out, and they want to compromise and they want to be nice. Sometimes we need to pray for our own selves, to be honest. And after doing the Kavach, Lord Krishna says, learn this prayer, keep this prayer, and only teach people that will bow to their guru's feet, their parents' feet, people that will charhawe cloth, ornaments to the mother, the white sandal paste to the mother, and go down with their head and lie flat by the feet of the guru or their parent. Only teach those people this type of knowledge. Prem se bolo Adi Shakti Mata ki Jai. For this reason, it is not as common, it is not as known, this Saraswati Kavach that I am referring, but tonight I am sharing this with you because we need it now. When a person wants to increase, and I'm reading from Brahm Vaivat Puran, Prakriti Khan, which is the Devi Khan, or the section dealing with Devi, chapter 4. Basically, the same discourse is repeated here, but there are some little differences, and that is what I want to touch on. Om Eng Hring Saraswati Mata Bhyam Nama. The person who with Shraddha or faith offers this, let the mother protect their lower region. Om Hring Sarva Pujitaya Swadha Chaivaya Swarva Bhutaya. The person who with Shraddha is making this offering, let the upper part of their body, let the seed, sperm, the ova, the egg that is developing within the two individuals to have freedom from all mental, genetic, and hormonal sickness or weaknesses. For the person whose child is developing within the womb, when the 3-month sanskar, 6-month sanskar, the Shashti Mata Puja on the 8th month before the child is being born, and the child is being developed within the womb from the oxygen and food that is coming from the mother, to the listening to the words, to the reading, to the imbibing, just as we hear about in Abhimanyu Katha in Mahabharata, where Arjuna is reading to the belly and he's teaching his child the art of war. One day I'll read that discourse for you. All these things, let Saraswati Mata, let that child absorb all these discourses, all these teachings. When the mother is reading Gita and she's reading Gayatri, for her baby, allow that child to be lifted and protected. The person should always adore their teacher, prostrate themselves. When Saraswati Jayanti comes, offer cloth. Have you ever wondered why sometimes when we are going to do puja, offer a little piece of cloth, a flag, a handkerchief, something for mother? It says here, the person who will offer mother even the shawl upon the murti, the ornament, the sandal paste, this kavach takes life and takes hold on the person and gives them success. The person who uses Om Shri Vidya Dhyayini Saraswati Nama, that mantra protects the person from themselves and from the enemies that exist around them. That person who recites the mantra for Sharda Devi, for Vidya Mata, when just as her Brihaspati became the god upon the earth, that Jupiter planet, when a person has grew with Jupiter and their health is dwindling, when diabetes, liver, kidney failure is coming around, and the person listens to this prayer and chants this prayer, honing the energy of this prayer, those things you are able to shanti the sickness. It may not cure, such as diabetes, but it could come under control. The person becomes a great orator. The person becomes and is able to overcome all forms of violation, all forms of phobia, all forms of fear, all forms of past trauma, whatever is your history, and you cannot seem to move forward. People who suffer, unfortunately, rape, loss, like what the Bharat family is suffering from today, to know that they have lost this child. There are many people remembering their own loss as they see the face of this father. They empathize with him, and it awakens something. I lost my child 8 years, 10 years, 20 years ago, and I feel as if it is my child in that coffin going today. When that trauma is upon a person, this type of Kavach brings about the ability to move forward. Tonight, as we are about to do the last verse, I just want to emphasize one point. As the social media discussion is on this Andrea Bharat. For those of you looking on, please give me your opinion. How do you feel about it? Talk it out. Vent. Send me a message, and please share this satsang so other people could benefit from this discourse. One of the strengths of Saraswati Puja, and this is my last point tonight, and we'll continue with it tomorrow, is the ability, the blessing, Mother, bless me to forget. Saraswati Mata, yes, for students, help them remember any schoolwork. But for all the married people, you tell me. You know more than me. If everything your spouse did, if everything your partner did, you held on to it. If every infraction your child did, you held on to that hurt, that pain, that mistake, and you did not forgive and forget, tell me how you would function with that pain still fresh in your mind. The person who gets raped, the person who loses a child, miscarriage, the woman who cannot have a child, the parents that has lost a child prematurely, accident, whatever. Looking at this example with Andrea, where the child didn't do anything. The person who has been given the diagnosis of cancer, etc. And these things are happening on you. And what's the question? Where was God? How could God allow this to happen? Why would he allow this if God is a giving God, a loving God? Why did God allow this to happen? The Hindu mind says because of karma, unfortunately. But when you want to move forward, when you want to overcome, when we have hurdles like this and it seems as if it cannot be healed, it cannot be fixed. Idam te kanva sakhayota katha kavach ye munina stotra puja vidhan vasan panchmi dhyanam vidhanam tatha. After revealing, in this section he says, O sage, after revealing the history of the Kavach, the prayer that comes from the Kanva Sakha, a section of Yajud Ved, the stotra, the method of offering the prayer, bathing the day before, preparing yourself, offering the different puja, dhyanam for the Saraswati Jayanti, and then subsequent, wearing the Kavach on your arm. If you don't know about it, contact your pundit and ask. Feel free to ask me about it. Message me. Do you need this help? I think so. With COVID, with our children not pushing themselves to work, with the danger where a child could be kidnapped, a child could be slaughtered, and our president, our prime minister, nobody seems to have any sympathy for the plight of the people here in Trinidad. And I am making a call again. This child, her funeral is done. Don't tell me you took your candle and you walked out all over the world, all over the street. New York, Florida, there was candlelight vigil. And that's it. What will happen the next time, God forbid, the next time somebody's daughter is going through this? Where you'll have the daylight and we go, walk again. If that is all it is, if this exercise just becomes like a gym, like an exercise version, a spinning class as it were, a candle exercise, candle yoga, if it is just a way to lose the belly, okay. But if we have to have meaningful change, the women in our homes, in our lives, regardless of the age, needs to be secured. And to be honest, it has to start with our leadership. As a pundit, as a guru, as a brother, as a husband, as a son, I am worried for my own, and I am worried for those in the ashram and the circle, for the people who I do prayers for. I don't know what I will see to a parent. God forbid, should one of the people I do pray for, if their child has to go through this, I don't know what I'll say to them. What would you say if somebody says, this has happened to me? What words of consolation do you give such a person? Tonight I am asking you, as I am concluding, I'm wrapping up. What would you say? If you can't find the words to met the pain, the suffering, why are we still allowing our girl children? Girl children, I remember he's celebrating his birthday Sunday, Shalan Lal Bihari. He does big brother part for me in my wedding. I grew up with this man, and we eat chow, we play cricket, we play football, we do everything. But when you have girl children, you're afraid for them to go outside. And in this age, it is getting worse. Now they're hiding the sons because they're afraid somebody kidnapped them. Afraid somebody call and say, you'll get it back. What you work hard to build like a flowers. You're molding it and mining it and you're watering it every day. One day I go see a flowers barber and somebody got thief what is mine and tell me if I give them money, I'll get back what is mine. And as we learn in this exercise with this young lady, sometimes you don't get back. In the way you send it off to school, in the way it went off to work, in the way whatever, it don't come back in the same way. And if we allow this moment to pass and it's just about lighting candle and not about demanding change from our leaders, putting something in place, having a society where people have sympathy. Krishna says the devotee that has the ability to have sympathy, to feel the pain of another person, then you are my devotee. But if you as a mother, you as a father only have pain in your belly for what you make, then you cannot be called a child of God. What about the other lady child? What about the other man pain? For that reason and for all the other reasons you can imagine, I am making a call. Hindu brothers and sisters, wherever you live, please practice tolerance, patience in the marriage, brothers. Not every relationship is easy, I agree. Not every person is meted with easy sailing in a marriage, I agree. But if you lose your control, if you lose your temper, if you become violent, it would be unacceptable. In your dharma, in the law, everything. As a man, you have to know your limit. We're all tested, including myself, I'm not lying. But greater than falling for that trap, we have to know how to hold back. Mothers, be the mother you need to be and teach your son. Son, treat women with respect. Show love, be caring, have sympathy. Teach your daughters to have sympathy for other people. Don't practice Die them people, die some people, die other people. Them in our next religion, them in our next race. No, that is our next country. Don't have feelings for them people. Don't make that mistake. Where you don't like for other people, don't do it for yourself. Where you don't want for yourself, don't do it for other people. Tonight, as I conclude, we've talked about the Kavach. I wanted to touch on what could be done, what could we be using to safeguard our children, our situation, our marriage, our women folk. Based on that Adi Shakti Saraswati Mata who comes from the lip of Radha. So we got the 5th day in the month of Magh in the bright half, which is happening this Tuesday. The Saraswati Jayanti, the Vasant Panchami is in memorial the day when Saraswati Mata takes form from the lip of Radha Devi. How does she end up with Brahma in this discourse? And as she goes with Brahma, Lord Vishnu says, I will make you always. People will adore you on this day. Not only will people worship you in the murti, but in the kalsa. Before they had these man-made murtis. Not the kalsa alone, but have you ever gone to Ramayana and see they put the tikka on the book, or the school book, or the pen and the pencil, all the utilities, all the different things that they use in school for the exam? Mother Saraswati, we invocate you here and we ask you to sit here in the instruments. Mother, may you sit here and guide my hand as I'm playing the instrument, guide my lips as I'm blowing, and allow me to make music. Saraswati Mata, in our second discourse tonight, we heard about from the lips of Lord Krishna, the Kavach. The word Kavach means armor. And we heard the various mantras that are used, how they sit on a person's body and shield them. When the enemy is coming from different directions, north, south, east, west, above and below. For the parent tonight that is grieving because they understand what that family in that Andrea Bharat case, what they lost, what they are going through, and you want to know what could you do to save yours and prevent your trouble. This is why I read what I read. So there is an answer and there is an option. You just have to walk through the door of that option and work on it. Put it on your children. Allow them to jump and say the prayer so that Mother Saraswati will guide them and keep them from harm, even when harm is their own self. We spoke at length about the marriage and why would you buy cat and bag, as I said, the person you're going to spend the rest of your life with. We're going to spend money on a car, we're going to research that car, and chances are we'll sell a car 10 years, but 30 years, 40 years we want to spend for the rest of our lives with this person. And you hear people say, Baba, oh God, if I didn't know he was going to cheat, you could have known. But who out of love, too much love, you want to marry Baba? If I check that and they're good, me know if I want to break up with him, you know. But when you have to divorce and you have to fight like cat and dog for a child in a court, oh God, Baba, if I didn't know, why didn't tell me that, Pandit? I'm begging you as you say your prayers, as I am doing this before the Saraswati Jayanti. So I have given to you now the way, the means for you to prepare yourself, to get ready. Tomorrow night we have one more discourse on Saraswati Mata before we get set. From Monday night at the ashram, I'm having in groups, I'm doing sessions from Monday night going into Tuesday night, doing her worship with various names, Kavach, Dhyanam, etc. People will be using different things to bathe with. Different forms of havan will be done. Different things will be done. I encourage you to speak to your Pandit to ask about this Kavach or guard for the arm, where it is tied on the arm, so that the person could be protected from seen and unseen danger. If you would like my help, leave me a message. Leave me a comment. Tonight I'll be posting the link for my WhatsApp group. Join the group and message me and give me that. If you are looking at this satsang on the repeat on YouTube or Facebook, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Join me on Facebook so that whenever we do satsang, meaningful discourse tonight from Brahm Vaivat Puran and Devi Bhagavad. Last night we did Mastya Puran. Tomorrow night I don't know where we'll end up, but for your benefit, please listen to it, join, and look forward for more. There's more coming. Tonight as we conclude, a simple arti, please put your hands together. Jai Saraswati Mata. O Maya Jai Saraswati Mata. Sadaguna Vaibhava Shalini. Tribhuvana Vaigyata. Om Jai Saraswati Mata. Vidya Gyana Pradayini. जग में प्रकाश भारू मोहा ज्ञान तिम्यारी कर जग से नाश करो ओम जय सरस्वती ओम जय सरस्वती माता ओम जय सरस्वती माता मंगलम भगवान विष्णु मंगलम गरुड़ध्वज मंगलम पुंडरीकाक्षम मंगलायतनो हरि. May the light of this Diya, may the energy from this Murti, the information, the knowledge, the Sankhya Yoga from these texts, may all of it flow to you. May you, I hope you are learning, I hope you are gaining via our satsang. When others gave up on the online satsang as COVID changed form, as the place became more relaxed, I have held this ground so that people in Trinidad and outside, sickly people, people that are ailing, people who are in the hospital could still get some form of help, some form of remedy, some form of focus, and I am making sure you get the knowledge. The secrets from our text is coming out. I hope you are enjoying it. Please leave me a comment tonight. Please share this satsang, I beg of you. Till tomorrow night, everybody, please send me your questions and I'll get back to you tomorrow night. Tvameva mata chapita tvameva tvameva bandhu chasaka tvameva tvameva vidya dravinam tvameva Tvameva sarvam mama deva deva Tvameva sarvam mama deva deva Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. प्रेम से बोलो महापति महादेव की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, श्री सरस्वती माता की जय, वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय, सत्य सनातन धर्म की जय. जय जय सीताराम. सीताराम everybody. Till tomorrow night. Jai Vishnu.